to I want to welcome everybody to QuickBooks Online Foundations. This is a very basic class. So if you have any experience with QuickBooks, this I'm going to just tell you up front, this is the bare bones. This is really just introducing you to QuickBooks, all the way from helping you choose the right subscription, and I'm hoping that we get to figuring out what your chart of accounts are. So we're going to talk about a lot of things really quickly, but it is really an overview of what QuickBooks is and how it can assist your business. My name is Lynette Sledge Watson. I serve dual roles with the Missouri Small Business Development Center. I am both the regional director for the St. Louis region, and I also handle diversity, equity, and inclusion for the statewide network. You can reach me. Here's my contact information. Feel free to reach out to me at any time. That is my role at the university, is to assist small businesses. This QuickBooks Online Foundation was created by Intuit, which is the owner of QuickBooks. So the structure of this training is really set up for you to learn a little bit about how QuickBooks handles bookkeeping, business management, and cash flow build and is used as a cash flow building tool. So the information I'm going to give you today is just a really basic look at establishing bookkeeping best practices and ensuring your accurate financial information. Please ask questions throughout the presentation in the chat, and I promise you that I will try to entertain them. If I don't have the answer, I am a certified QuickBooks Pro advisor, but I'll be real honest with you. I do not have the answers to all questions. So if I do not have the answer, I will get back with you with the answer. And I'm so happy to have you here, and I look forward to helping you. You're not going to master QuickBooks today, but I look forward to helping you get acquainted with QuickBooks today. So the first thing we're going to start off with is we're going to cover two sections. QuickBooks breaks this down into about 10 sections. So, if you go from the basic to the minute, to the minutia, to the very weeds of the details. So we're going to go over one and most of two. In one, we're going to cover the basic features in QuickBooks and how they apply to best bookkeeping principles. We're going to also look at how to effectively use QuickBooks. I'm not going to read this to you. And then how to customize QuickBooks to meet the specific needs of your business. This is kind of what I hope to achieve in this section. And why QuickBooks? First of all, there are other ways you can keep your books. I just find that most people use QuickBooks. Probably 80% of the small businesses that I work with use some form of QuickBooks if they have a process at all. And the problem is most don't have a process of keeping their books. And it is very, very, very important that small businesses do. And one of the biggest reasons is your business is only as strong as your infrastructure, and your infrastructure includes your back office. So your back office is, do you have an attorney that can look at your that can look at your contract, so you're not signing a bad contract, or you're not creating a contract that doesn't really protect you. So you need that in your infrastructure. You need a good banker in your infrastructure. You also need to have sound financial statements in your infrastructure. And the reason is many. Number one, if you ever want to borrow money, you're going to have to be able to produce financial reports, which would be income statement, balance sheet, cash flow. QuickBooks does all of that for you pretty easily. The other thing is you need to be able to manage your business. You can't manage your business if you don't understand how the money's coming in, where the money's coming from, and how you're spending the money. That's one of the biggest issues I have with my small businesses is they're like, I'm making a lot of money, but I can't even make enough to pay myself. And they're like, I'm bringing in X amount of dollars. Why can't I pay myself? Well, QuickBooks allows you to understand and allows you to look at where your money's going. The other thing is QuickBooks put the Pareto principle here as really powerful. 20% of your customers are going to generate 80% of your net profit. And at the same time, 20% of what you're selling is going to contribute 80% of your revenue. So you got to make sure that you know what is what. And so you focus on what is most making you most profitable. So this is kind of the table of contents, and I will have this for you after the class. Everybody will get a copy of this, so you can follow along. You can, take notes on your own, but you will get this information. So we're going to get started. I'm going to go over the objectives. We're going to talk about features, subscriptions, how to set up, navigation, and we're going to do a fun practice test to see how much we learned. So upon completion of this section, hopefully you're familiar with how to choose the right subscription, how to use the features, how to import company data, how to set up a file, how to view and use the dashboard, and how to navigate using QuickBooks Online Plus. I am also going to supplement my presentation with videos that QuickBooks has created. So we're going to go back and forth from you listening to me talk to you listening to, I call him the QuickBooks guy. The QuickBooks guy explains some of these sections. So the first thing is subscriptions and determining what the right QuickBooks subscription is for your business. So I am going to open the pricing. I hope it still works. And control. There it is. And I hope you all can see that. So these are the different pricing models for QuickBooks Online. There is the simple start. And again, I'm not going to read all of this to you. You guys will have all of the links in the presentation. I just want to tell you the differences between the three. Most oftentimes, Essentials or Plus is what the majority of my clients will get. But if you have a very basic business and you don't need additional users, you don't need to manage and pay your bills, or you don't need to track time, then Simple Start works for you. And there's even one down from Simple Start for those of you that are just very, very basic. You're not doing much at all. And that's called the freelancer. And that allows you to track your income and expenses. You can capture and organize your receipts. You can estimate your quarterly taxes, track miles, and run very basic reports. You're not doing a whole lot with this. And I think they give you a cap on the amount of transactions you can put in there. When you move up to Essentials, you can have more than one user. So you could have other people that could use your QuickBooks as well. You can manage and pay your bills, and you can track time. If you go to Plus, you can do all of that. Plus you have 5 users. And if you have inventory, so if you're selling a good, then you would need to track inventory. It allows you to track inventory. And if you work on projects, so if you are a consultant that is project-based, then this helps you track your profit, your project profitability. And then Advanced has a lot of detailed information. I'm not going to go over that at all, because rarely do my newer clients that are just starting QuickBooks really need the Advanced. But if you do, it is there for you to take a look at. I'm going to go. Can you see my presentation again? Yes. Can somebody unmute?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. I'm going to need somebody to help me as I do this. So what I want you to do, if you would like, and I know the problem with doing this virtually versus in person is normally what we can do is I'll have my presentation up on a screen, and then you can actually be following along on your phone or your laptop or whatever. So it's a little harder. But if you have a phone and you want to follow and kind of move around with me, you can actually go to this test drive, and I'm going to put it back up. But so if you have a phone handy and you want to pull this up, feel free to. But it is kind of you can't mess it up. It's a sample company, and it allows you to kind of go around. So as I am talking about things, you can be looking at them, you can be touching them, and you can be testing them and making sure you know where they are. So I'm going to go back to my screen, And if you have an opportunity, the link is http dash backslash backslash. It's the one at the bottom, gbointuit.com, that / REDIR, then test drive with a period at the end. So if you want to take a minute to do that, I'll give you a few minutes to open that up. Oops, I probably should not have taken it off yet. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and move on. Hopefully you have that. So the first thing that we would do is we would set up our account. When you choose the QuickBooks that you're going to choose, and the only thing I showed you guys was online. There is another version. There is desktop. And some people that have been using QuickBooks for a long time and they've used desktop, they swear by desktop. QuickBooks is trying to move everybody over to online. So any new client that I have that is looking to start using QuickBooks, I recommend one of the online versions. Number one, it's much easier. When you use desktop, you got to be at your desktop to utilize it. But online, you can use it on your phone. You can use it wherever you are, and it's much easier for us that are accountants that review your books. It's much easier for us to use QuickBooks Online. We have to download your data when you have desktop, but it is available. There's also a version that's available just for Mac. It has a lot of fewer features, and I'm a Mac user, but QuickBooks Mac for your Mac desktop has a lot less features than the basic desktop as well as online. So I switched when they came out with online because I have a MacBook and I have much more access to more features using the online version. So from here in, I'm going to be talking about the online version, just so you know. So when you set up, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to put in your legal business name. So if you're an LLC, you would put in TAG Gaming Services. I'm going to use them as an example, LLC as an example. So that's what you would do. You would put your name in, your first initial, last name, and then the name of your company and LLC. If you're a partnership, you would make sure it's a partnership. Or if you're a corporation, an S Corp or a C Corp, you would include that. Then you would include your industry. Here they're saying it should be, if for training purposes, we're keeping it empty, but you would actually look for whatever industry you're in, and that would help you with some best practices and benchmarking as you start to get your numbers in. So, but for now, we would just leave that empty because we don't want it to add that additional industry information in. And then if your business is a partnership, you would put partnership. If it was nonprofit, S Corp, C Corp, whatever you are, a sole proprietor. What they don't have in here is LLC, and most, I would say the majority of my small businesses are LLC. So here's kind of the difference here. If you are an LLC and you're a single member, you're going to be taxed as a sole proprietor. So you would just put sole proprietor in there because that's how you're taxed. And that is really what QuickBooks is about. QuickBooks is about your financial and your taxes and those types of things. It's not about your legal entity, which the LLC is the legal entity, but you're taxed as a sole proprietor. Now, if you have more than one person in the business, then you're taxed as a partnership. So if you were an LLC and you had 3 members of your LLC, you would select partnership because you are actually operating as a partnership. You're actually taxed as a partnership with the IRS. Hope that makes sense. And And then next, what you're going to do is you're going to let QuickBooks know how your business makes money. Do you provide a service? Do you sell products, or do you do both? So some of you will just provide a service. You will just be a consultant. That's all you do. You consult with something, and you provide a service. Or you're an accountant, you're a lawyer, you are, me, I'm a business consultant. I provide a service. I don't sell any products. Now, if you're selling something with it, so say you're a lawyer, but you have a book that you sell to your clients about trademarking. Now you are selling products. So you would do both. So you have to decide, do I just sell products? Do I just provide service, or do I do both? And that is going to help the system set up and decide where it would collect cost of goods sold and where it doesn't. So if you sell products, then you have to capture cost of goods sold. If you just sell a service, there are no cost of goods sold to be captured. Now, if you do both, they're not going to capture cost of goods sold on your service side, but they are going to capture cost of goods sold on your product side. So it's really important that you correctly answer how your business makes money. And then we're going to select and when you guys will be able to play around with this, QuickBooks gives you a 30-day free. So when you are done with this, I suggest every last one of you take that 30-day free trial period and just start to, you can use this booklet that I'm going to provide you, and you'll be able to go right through it. The reason that I'm selecting bookkeeper accounting for this step is because I want you to see everything that is in there. If you just select that you're the owner or the partner, it doesn't give you all of the views that you could have being a bookkeeper or an accountant. And then it's going to ask you who helps to run the business. So who works at this business? Are you going to be the only one that is going to have access to this? Then that's fine. But do you have a few partners and owners that are going to have access to it? Do you want your contractors to have access to it? Do you want your employees to have access to it? And that would usually come in to play if your employees are helping with the books, or if you're doing payroll and you want them to be able to get in and get out to do payroll and things of that nature. Most times, however, it is usually yourself, just yourself, only the owner, or if you have partners, then the partners. And then of course, later on, you will give your accountant or your bookkeeper or whoever you're using to help you with this, they would also get access. And then the other opportunity that you have in QuickBooks is QuickBooks has a lot of third-party apps that you can use to save time and automate data entry or track your industry-specific information. You can search for the apps in this navigation bar. I'm going to show it to you if I can. It didn't open for me before, but let me see if I can get it to open now. If not, I think I have a link that is, come on. Yeah, it's not opening, but I have a link below that you'll be able to go to and take a look at it. But really what it does is it just gives you, it's a lot of fun things that you can add to QuickBooks that make their mileage trackers if you want something to keep your mileage. If you want to know what's going on in the industry, you can add an industry tracking thing that'll tell you the industry is at 40% cost of goods sold. So if you're at 50% cost of goods sold, you would know that I'm not nearly as productive, or I'm not controlling my cost like my competition is. So you know that I got to look at my cost structure and see if I can get it down. So that is some of the third-party apps that Intuit has. And then you can link your accounts, you can link your bank accounts, and you can see everything in one place. And we're not going to do that right now. We just don't have the time. So everything that you want to set up, you can check all the options. I'm going to make this a little bigger. So what you want to set up is these are the things that you could set up. You want to organize your money in and out. You want to invoice customers. You want to track receipts and bills. Do you want to pay employees or contractors? You're telling QuickBooks what you want to set up, and then they're going to tell you what you need. Some of the things, if you say I want to pay employees or contractors, then they're going to sell you QuickBooks Payroll. That's what's going to happen. If you say you want to accept online payments, then they're going to sell you their online payment method. You might already have an online payment method, and you can actually link that to this as well. If you want to track time, that is included in certain levels of QuickBooks Online. So if you say I want to track time and you picked the basic QuickBooks, they're going to say you need to upgrade to this QuickBooks. And then same with managing inventory and protect your business with insurance, then they're going to send you to their insurance. So you know, be strategic about what you ask if you don't want them selling you a lot of stuff, because QuickBooks is great at adding features. They have great features, but you know, you don't always necessarily need them. But if you do need to set those things up, please click them, and then QuickBooks will help you navigate that process. So navigation bar. I am actually this is what the navigation bar looks like on QuickBooks Online. And this is one of the first things that you're going to see when you get set up on QuickBooks. You're going to see this QuickBooks navigation bar, and they're going to have all the links to the left. And this is kind of the menu that will take you to your frequently used areas. I am actually going to let my buddy talk about these, and then I'll come back. So hopefully this works. Do you guys see the video?
When you're in QuickBooks, you'll see the navigation bar, or the nav, on the left side of your screen.
I'm going to try to turn it up.
It's a menu that helps you find things that you've already recorded.
And I'm going to start it over.
From the nav bar, you can access the Banking Center, which is a list of transactions that have already been downloaded from your bank. These transactions have already happened, and you use the Banking tab to add them into QuickBooks. You also see a list of sales or invoices from the Sales and Invoices tab. Again, these are transactions that have already happened. You can also use this section to check in on your customers by selecting the customer and viewing their balance.
Can you guys hear it?
You'll learn more about this list later on. From the same menu, you can also view Products and Services list. This lets you look at information about the things your business buys and sells. And we have an entire chapter about that coming up. The Expenses menu is similar to the Sales and Invoices tab. First, you'll find a list of all the expenses you've already recorded in QuickBooks. You can select Vendors and see a list of all of the people and businesses that you've already spent money with. The Payroll section brings you to the Payroll Center. Right now, we don't have the Payroll Center turned on, but we will in a later chapter. The Reports Center helps you run reports on every aspect of your business. At the top, you can see the profit and loss and the balance sheet. But if you want to dig a little deeper and you don't know the name of a report, just search for it up here. Otherwise, you can scroll down and find any report you'd like. The Taxes tab takes you to the Sales Tax Center. You'll only need this tab if you sell taxable products or services. Then there's the Accounting tab, which shows you your chart of accounts. This is the hub of your accounting for your business. It's crucial that your chart of accounts is laid out properly. We have an entire chapter for you coming up. The Apps tab keeps track of any third-party applications that you've connected to QuickBooks Online. Not every business uses apps, but they can be helpful in extending the capabilities of QBO. The app listing here, you can find any third-party app that might be useful for your business. In the next topic, you learn about another important feature, the New button.
All righty. So that is the navigation bar. The navigation bar is where I always go when I don't know where to go. That is the first thing that I do. I'm like, I don't know if I should be in banking or if I should be in accounting. And then you just go to the navigation bar and you click it, and I'll look at and we're gonna look at the dashboard next. But you click on it and if I look at it, I'm like, oh, banking doesn't have what I want, so must be accounting. But it is really that area, I'm sorry, there's the trash. It really is that area where you can go and get around QuickBooks Online very quickly. And QuickBooks is pretty intuitive. I've used a lot of financial software. QuickBooks is probably the most intuitive. So it will be the one that you can get here, you'll be able to get to where you're trying to go. Now, the dashboard is the getting things done. That's once you've set up your company and you've decided what apps you're going to have, and you're ready to get things done. You're ready to do the work. From the dashboard views, you can complete all of the following things. You can review your banking transactions. You can add a new customer. You can review expense totals for the previous month. You can navigate around this, and I think I have a link for that as well. I am going to go to Craig's, which is the one that I gave you, and we are going to navigate around the dashboard. So this is the dashboard right here. And this is the business overview. I use the business overview a lot. The business overview, you can look just, if you keep, first of all, I have to say, junk in equals junk here. So you got to make sure that you are putting good information in first and foremost. So we assume Craig has put in good information for his design and landscaping services, and he can just click this button and he can know for the last 30 days what his profit and loss was. And as we see, his income was $39.60 and his expenses was $21.86. So his profit and loss for the last 30 days was $17.74. We can also see a breakdown of the $21.86 in expenses. So we know exactly what he spent that money on. We know what his bank account looks like. We know what his checking account looks like, his savings account, and we know what his MasterCard looks like. We know he has no balance, shows no balance on his Visa, but it'll also have things that you can review if you have not balanced your account yet. And so you are reviewing all of these things, and it will show you if you need to match them, so you would reconcile them. So this is the beauty of QuickBooks. It helps you stay reconciled. It helps you make sure you have good information, and it helps make sure that you are capturing what you are doing from your business by keeping your bank account up to date, your business bank account up to date with QuickBooks. So back to QuickBooks, you can actually see your sales. You can see your sales in the last 30 days. You can see it by date. So you can say, wow, I sold a lot in April, but my sales have been nothing thus far. After April 6th, it doesn't look like I've sold much. You can look at invoices that aren't unpaid. And that is, if you invoice your clients and you give them 30 days to pay, I'm just using an example, you can look and you can say, oh, who's overdue? Those are the people that you look at in the morning. You get up in the morning and that's your first calls for that day. When somebody is overdue on an invoice for me, that is the first thing that I do, is I call those people that owe me money. You don't let people not pay you when they're due, because that will set a precedent and they will start to think that they can always pay you late. And cash is king and your cash flow is king. So you want to make sure that you're getting your cash in when it is due. And that'll help you, again, make good, sound financial decisions. So that is what the dashboard looks like. And you can monitor your money in, your money out. You can also access your customers, your vendors, your transactions, and your reports. You can do anything from this dashboard. You can look at your bank and your credit card accounts. It is a great where to go when you just need a quick overview. This is where I start in the morning. When I open up my, when I sit down at my desk, the first thing I do is I open QuickBooks and I open my dashboard, and it lets me know what's going on with my business and what I need to pay attention to. The other areas when you are navigating that you will be paying attention to is the income section of the dashboard. And again, I'm going to go over these in detail. I talked about them really quickly before, but you can look at the income section of the dashboard, and you can look at, as I mentioned, invoices that are open, overdue, or that have been paid in the last 30 days. I also look at, when I pull up this section of the dashboard, I also look to see who is coming up, who's getting ready to be due. So if I have somebody that's going to be due in 2 to 5 days, I send them a quick reminder that they have an upcoming invoice for me. Cash is king. You want to make sure you're getting your cash in on time. And then you can click the invoice color bars to view and manage the detailed list of the open invoices currently owed by you or your customers. So as you can see here, they have 105,000 in unpaid invoices, but they're not yet due. So there's nothing that's overdue, but I would click that to see when they are actually due. And then profit and loss, of course, we all want to make sure that we're profitable. This section of the dashboard provides a graphical view, so you get to see what your net income is and what it's been for the last 30 days. And you can drop down to change the period. So it doesn't have to be 30 days. Me, I like to look at 90 days. So you can use the drop down next to last month, and you can change the period for which the data is displayed. That is one great thing about QuickBooks, is it allows you to customize it based upon your personal preferences. And it's very easily customizable. And then the sales section of the dashboard just displays what you sold for the prior month. And again, you can change that as well. You can access and manage your bank accounts from the dashboard as well. You can change the order of how your accounts are displayed. So when I went there, I could move that around, and I'm going to go back. And so say I want my, oops, that's not what I wanted to do. That's certainly not what I wanted to do. Okay. No. Oh, here we go. It's working for me now. It's thinking. Isn't that cute? They do all these kind of things, like they say our shoe will come back, check again later. They do that. It drives me crazy, but but it'll happen every now and again. And that was my fault. It was what I did that caused that to happen. So I'm going to come back to that. I'll come back to that and show you. It wasn't that important. I just really wanted to show you how you could move the things around, because it's super easy. It would have been super easy if I didn't screw it up by hitting the back button too much. But you can change the order of how your accounts are displayed in the banking center and the dashboard. And you can access your bank registers very easily by just going to the register. And it'll take you to your register. You must connect, though, your bank and credit card accounts, and you do this in the banking center. And if you go back to, and you will see in your navigation bar, there is the banking center. So you would go to the banking center, and that is where you would connect your bank accounts and your credit card accounts. And then that's also where you will post your bank and credit card transactions, and will go in the banking center. Now, the new icon is in the navigation bar, and it provides access to data input in the windows. Again, I am not going to read this to you. I am going to let you hear from our buddy from QuickBooks. And we are going to go to next. I think this is next. You know, I tried to do all of this ahead of time so we would not have this problem. And okay, that is not going to do it. Let's try this again. Ta-da!
The navigation bar is great for looking up things that have already happened. But what happens when you want to add something new? For that, you use the New button. The New button lets you record new transactions into QuickBooks at any time. When you click the New button, you'll see a list of transactions that you can record. The transactions are separated into categories, and it makes it a little easier to find what you need. Note that your new menu might look a little different than what you see here. When you signed up for QBO, you were asked what role did you serve in your business. If you chose that you were the owner, your new menu looks like this. It does all the same things as the other new menu, but the options are phrased or labeled a little different. If you'd like to switch from the one new menu to the other, select the gear icon, then Account and Settings. In the advanced settings, you can change your user view. Right now, this menu is pretty daunting, but by the end of the training, you'll understand when to use each of these transactions.
Okay, now I can't promise you by the end of this training, this hour-and-a-half training, the training he's talking about is about a 13-hour training. You will know them all, but you will know more than you did. So, but this is what the new navigation, you hit that button and it tells you all the things that you have access to that you can add new things to. So if you didn't have payroll, of course you wouldn't have, the payroll wouldn't be there because you don't have it. And always enter your data from top to bottom, left to right, to avoid missing fields that are crucial. And another good thing about QuickBooks is it won't let you enter information if it is not complete. It will stop you. So, and there are some additional icons that we're going to go over. We're going to go over the help icons, the search icons. We're going to look at the settings gear and things of that nature as we move forward. But the new button is what allows you to put new information in. So if you have a new customer and you need to put a new invoice in, you're going to click the new button. Again, the navigation bar is for things that have already been entered. So the search icon is what he just referred to, and that is the magnifying glass. And let me see if I can. So that is this thing right here. I don't know if you guys can see me pointing to it, but it is the magnifying glass. That is where you go to search. So I am going to show you the search video. Oh, this is
one more way to find transactions is with the search menu, which looks like a magnifying glass. When you first open this menu, you'll see the last 10 transactions you recorded. This is very handy if you want to view or edit a transaction that you recently entered. Each transaction displays the type, number, payee, date, and monetary value. If you're looking for a transaction that's not recent, click in the search field to look for transactions by number, amount, or date. But what if you want to search for a transaction using some other piece of data? You'll learn about that next.
Okay, so now I'm going to go to the advanced.
Ms. Watson, the videos are really small. Would you be able to make them full screen when we watch them?
I am trying to make them full screen. I'm trying to click that.
Sometimes searching for transactions by just the transaction number, date, or monetary value isn't enough. That's why QuickBooks has an advanced search. With advanced search, you can be as broad or as specific as you like when looking for transactions. You can include all transactions in your search or look for a specific type of transaction. Let's look for some invoices. Next, choose what you want to search for. You can look for pretty much anything included on a transaction. You can even search using data from custom fields that you entered on your sales. Let's look for invoices that are for a certain amount. Narrow down what you're looking for with this menu. We'll look for invoices that are greater than or equal to $500. Then search. Wow, looks like we got more invoices that meet that criteria than we anticipated. Let's add something else to this search to narrow down the results. We just looked for invoices that have an amount equal to or greater than $500. But let's just look for transactions with a particular customer. In this case, don't choose Search. If you do, it'll clear out the search you've already performed. Instead, select Add Filter. Now the advanced search pulls up transactions that are equal to or greater than $500 and are for this customer. If you want to get a closer look at a transaction, just click it, and it fills up the screen so you can edit it, print it, email it, or whatever else you need to do. Find transactions quickly with Search and Advanced Search.
There we go. I got it to go bigger. I'm going to replay this. Can you see this?
Sometimes searching
now?
for transactions by just the transaction number, date, or monetary value isn't enough. That's why QuickBooks has an advanced search. With advanced search, you can be as broad or as specific as you like when looking for transactions. You can include all transactions in your search, or look for a specific type of transaction. Let's look for some invoices. Next, choose what you want to search for. You can look for pretty much anything included on a transaction. You can even search using data from custom fields that you entered on your sales. Let's look for invoices that are for a certain amount. Narrow down what you're looking for with this menu. We'll look for invoices that are greater than or equal to $500. Then search. Wow, looks like we got more invoices that meet that criteria than we anticipated. Let's add something else to this search to narrow down the results. We just looked for invoices that have an amount equal to or greater than $500. But let's just look for transactions with a particular customer. In this case, don't choose Search. If you do, it'll clear out the search you've already performed. Instead, select Add Filter. Now the advanced search pulls up transactions that are equal to or greater than $500 and are for this customer. If you want to get a closer look at a transaction, just click it, and it fills up the screen so you can edit it, print it, email it, or whatever else you need to do. Find transactions quickly with Search and Advanced Search.
Okay, sorry about that. I'm glad I was able to figure out how to get it bigger. The other the other icon is the gear icon, and that is located to the right of your dashboard, and that helps you access your company default settings, your list, and your tools. So if you need to make some changes, like if you want to change your logo, or you want to change the users, the people who have access, you want to change your style. So I am going to, hopefully it'll be big. I'm going to go to the video there, and hopefully,
the third place that you find what you're looking for is the gear menu.
No.
This is where you set up things like your account settings, users, and sales forms. All of these are very important, but they're not the kind of thing that you access on a daily basis. For example, reconciliations are usually performed once a month, so you only need to open this menu when your bank sends you your monthly statement. Budgeting is usually done once a year or whenever you start a new project. The account and settings are things that you use a lot, but only set up when you start your QuickBooks. Once they're there and set, you usually leave them alone. In fact, we often call the gear icon the Set It and Forget It menu because it's used so infrequently. The things that you find in the gear menu are very important, and they have a dramatic impact on how you use QuickBooks, but it's not designed for day-to-day use.
All righty. So now we are wrapping up navigation, and there are two ways to view navigation. And you can click on your gear icon, which, you know, he said is the setup and forget up, but you can do a business view and you can do an accountant view. We selected the accountant view. I did so you would have access to look at all of the things that are available for you to see. Cash flow is not on the business view, but it's on the accounting view, and it's going to be very important for you when you are looking at your QuickBooks and navigating your QuickBooks and managing your business with your financial software. Cash flows, and speaking of cash flows, I didn't even know this was next in the slide presentation, but cash flows is simply the cash that you have. So it's how your cash flows in and how your cash flows out of the business. So it does not consider, well, it does consider, but if you give your customers 30-day terms, it is not going to put cash in your business. The cash won't come in your business until that person pays you 30 days later. So the cash flow tool and the cash flow section is what helps you take a look to see if you have enough each week to pay your bills, your debts, make a payment to yourself, and more. So most businesses confuse profit and net, confuse their net profit with their cash flow. They're not the same. You can have profit without having cash flow, believe it or not. And you can have cash flow, believe it or not, without having a net profit. It just depends on how the cash comes in. So cash flow is very important, and it is very important that you maintain cash on hand so you can make sure that you can pay your obligation. So this will be one of those tools that I recommend that you use often. So you get an idea. You can look 30 days from now based upon the invoices that you put in that are due in 30 days, and you can see what cash you should have available. That's, again, why collection is so important. So if you are expecting this person to pay you in 30 days and you have bills that go along with you being paid in 30 days, if you don't get paid in those 30 days, then it puts your cash flow in jeopardy. So you want to make sure that you are managing your cash flow and you are taking a look. QuickBooks is not something that you just pull up you pull up once in a while and put your enter your data entry into. QuickBooks is meant to be used to manage your business and the day-to-day operations. And now we're going to do a quick practice test. Then I'm going to pause for a minute, and I am going to ask if you guys have any questions, or I'll check the chat, and then we'll move on to section 2. So, and anybody can answer just unmute yourself. Which QuickBooks Online subscription is most popular? Does anybody know that answer?
Plus.
That's correct. It is Plus. Which of the following features are included with the Plus subscription? It's D. It's all of above. What is the recommended browser for QuickBooks Online? Anybody remember that? It's Chrome.
Chrome, okay.
Mm-hmm. When looking at the dashboard, which actions can you take? Can you review your banking transactions? Can you add a new customer? Can you review expense totals from the previous month?
D.
Yes. And then to locate a transaction that was previously entered, where do you go?
Search icon.
Yes, you guys rock. You were rock stars. Now I'm going to pause for a minute, and before we move on to setting up your new QuickBooks Online company, I want to ask, are there any questions about section 1? Going once, going twice. We're moving on. Okay, so section 2, we're going to talk about accounting terms you need to know. You're going to have a quick 101 on accounting, and it's going to be real quick. We're going to talk about the accounting settings, how to manage users. We might have to skip lists because I really want you to get to the chart of accounts and then links. This class goes way too fast. I think the next time we do this, we'll have to do it over a longer period. So upon completion of this section, hopefully we'll get to most of these. It'll be how to manage your accounting settings, default preferences, how to set up and manage users, how to set up and use your chart of accounts, and how it connects to all of your transactions. We won't talk about the beginning balances and historical data today. We just don't have the time. And we also won't get to how to set up and main products and services. It's just an hour and a half just doesn't give us enough time. But you guys will have that information in your booklet that we will send you. And I'm looking for the accounting terms you need to know. Here we go. Now make it big. Can I make it big? Yes. Oh, but we need to start it over from the beginning.
For the most part, you can name accounts whatever you
Miss Watson, is something supposed to play?
Hello.
Hello.
Okay, so we're all still frozen. All right.
Are you still there, Miss Watson?
Don't know what's going on.
Hi, everyone. The screen is frozen for me too. Lynette, if you can hear me, you might need to reboot because you're frozen, your presentation's frozen, and I can't hear you at all.
I think she can't hear anyone. Did she say anything? Okay, we are back.
I am here. I still do not see Lynette. I'm sorry, everyone. Our technical challenge here. I will see if I can get a hold of her because I don't know if she can hear or say yes at all. Feel free to hang in there. If she's back, we're still recording. So, and if not, maybe it would make you feel better to know that if we had been in person, we would have all had to evacuate for a fire alarm. So at least we didn't have to do that. Oh, yes, Darius, actually, I did evacuate. That's why I showed up with a different username, the adult programming username, in our building across the street, the administrative building. Found a laptop that they let me use and checked in, and everything seemed to be going just fine without me. So they let us back. Apparently, they solved everything, but you can see the light behind me still flashing to say thanks. Yeah, I don't know if there was an actual fire or if it was another technical malfunction. Who knows? Maybe they will tell me later. But yeah, it's been an exciting morning.
I'm sorry about that. I don't know.
All right, you're back. Hooray. Okay, good.
What happened? So please forgive me. I'm sorry. I will reshare my screen.
Very good. So, and I entertained them with my story of how I had to evacuate the building for a fire alarm, which I don't think anybody missed me at all, which is fine. That's great.
Well, we're glad that you're back. I'm glad you were here when that happened. Okay.
And I'm glad that you were all not here in the building with me. We would have had to go outside in the rain, but you could have kept talking to them about QuickBooks. So
we can talk about QuickBooks in the rain. Okay, great. So,
turn it back over to you.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Great. Okay, so the usage will tell you if, this again is a plus account. So the usage tells you how many more billable users you could add, how many more chart of accounts you can add, and how many more tag groups you can add. We're not going to get into tag groups, but tag groups really just is one of those kind of advanced user things that allows you to do more things with QuickBooks. QuickBooks really does allow you to do quite a bit, and you can customize it. And tags is just like tagging. If I want to tag, I have 10 different projects and I want to tag them a certain way, you can do that. And then the sales, you're going to what you're going to do is you're going to customize how it looks. That's what you're doing here. The look and feel, how you want your invoices and your estimates and your sales receipts to look. So that would be, making sure they're probably just that QuickBooks will just move your logo over, but some people like them more contemporary, some people like them more traditional. It'll allow you to customize the look and feel of your invoices, your sales receipts, and your estimates. And then, of course, they show you the styles and you can do that. And again, all of this is in the gear icon. And then this is just selecting tabs. I'm selecting design. I'm not going to go over this with you, but this is where you would do that in that account settings in the gear under the design tab. And then how you want your invoices, you can put the terms. And this is really important. If you invoice and you want net 30, that means that your invoice is due within 30 days from the date that was used to create the invoice. How you want it delivered, do you want it printed, do you want to email it, how you want to get it to them. So you create all of this. If they're shipping, then you need to add that. You can customize fields. So, some people have to right now, because the supply chain is so crazy, some of my clients have to add surcharges for certain things because it's costing them more, especially my clients that are in the hauling industry. Gas is ridiculous. So they've had to add a surcharge. You can customize fields and you can use the gear settings list and then create custom fields. So you can do all of this, and all of this is what you are going to do at the beginning. And that is using the gear icon, which is the icon you're going to use now. And then you're going to set it aside and probably not use it much at all. And then, when you turn on the shipping feature, you will also, it will default to the shipping account, but you can advance, it'll default to the basic. You can also create an advanced, more advanced if you want. Some people ship, and I'm probably ahead of myself. I'm not going to go through that because it'll confuse you because it's a lot of pieces to it. But what I will say is you can, if you ship to more than one place and the taxes are different, QuickBooks will actually help you calculate that. And then if you have discounts that you want, you allow somebody 30 days, if they pay you in 15 days, you give them a 5% discount. You can put all of that stuff in there, okay? So again, if you want to do tips and gratuity, it is not much you can't do in QuickBooks, and it is all going to be in accounts and settings using your gear icon. And then products and services, you can just, you can add all the products and services, and you can add SKUs and however you want to keep up with it so you can keep inventory. And that is where you would do this as well. You can turn these things on if you see some are on, some are not, some are on, some are off. And it is really what you want to keep track of. And all of these things, so if you picked a version of online that does not allow for inventory, then of course the inventory, track inventory quantity on hand is not going to be there. It is there because we are using a plus account. And then late fees, you can do that as well. So anything that you need to do that you can think of, you can almost set up for QuickBooks to do for you. So it does the thinking for you. Oh my gosh, we cannot have my, excuse me guys, I have to, and of course it is wrapped around. Okay, I'll fix it. Your progress invoicing allows you to create multiple invoices for a single estimate. That happens a lot with my construction companies because they don't get paid all at once. So they might get paid for a third of the job, 30 in 30 days, upfront, then another third of the job in 30 days. You can do that. You can create messages. You can create reminders. You can do pretty much anything you want to do to communicate with your customers about invoicing and getting paid in accounts and settings and making sure you are getting paid on time. That is so important. And I will not, I can't say that enough, guys. And then online, if you want to attach forms as PDFs, then you can do it online. You can create statements that show an aging table. Again, these are all the things, and I'm not going to go over these in detail because you can get in there and play with them. I just really want you to know where they are. And your expenses, we talked about bills and expenses. You can set that up as well. You can show you want to tag a group. So they all come up together. You can do that. You can track expenses and items by customer, all of these things. And it's, again, just by setting up what you want to see and what you want to have. And then you can also have purchase orders. So some people will have purchase orders before they actually have the sale. So you can do purchase orders, and then sometimes it's a purchase order, then it's an invoice. You can do that as well in QuickBooks. And you can have custom transaction numbers if you want to assign custom, you can have your own numbering system. You can do all of that. If you want, you don't want to start your purchase order at 1, you can go in and say, I want to start at 5,000. So that's just what is included in accounts and settings. And since we're running out of time, I'm going to go through these even faster. I'm so sorry that the hour and a half for this is challenging. You can click the time feature, but of course, you can have the time on and off feature, and I'm going to show you. Oh, shoot, I wanted this to. And that just tracks, that would track the amount of time that you spent on a project or you spent on something. Like for me, time is really important because I'm a consultant. So I charge by my time. So whenever I am working with the client, I can turn the time and turn the tab of time on, time off, and it helps me. But I have to have a certain level to do this on. And so again, you're going to use your accounting method. I'm skipping down to the accounting method. So I'll go back up to accounting. The accounting is, where are you starting? Are you starting in January? Is your fiscal year January to December, or is your fiscal year October to September? So you actually can decide what your fiscal year is, but you also have to remember that the first month of the income tax year is January. So you can have that as the same as your fiscal year, or you can have a different fiscal year and still keep track of your income tax starting at January. And then there are two accounting methods. They're cash and accrual. I'm going to recommend everybody just use accrual. And accrual, really cash is if you always get cash. You know, the minute you make a sale, you get cash. That doesn't always happen. Sometimes you make a sale and it takes your customer 30 days to pay you, or you give your customers 30 days to pay you. So it's usually just safer to use the accrual method. And that is the method that most accountants that work with you will automatically set up for you if you have someone else set up your books. And then closing the books, you know, you should be the only one, or your accountant should be the only one that can ever have access to closing your books. And this is a feature that allows you to set up when you're going to close your book. So for me, I use a fiscal year of the calendar year. So I usually close my books on December 31st. And then that gets into your tax forms and things of that nature. So, and then chart of accounts, which I'm going to try to get to so we can talk about the chart of accounts. And then there are classes. I'm not going to get into that because that's getting into more advanced and location as well. And automation. I'm gonna let this go. Because again, it's a little more advanced. But currency, leave it turned off because currency is it's set to take dollars, and that's usually what you're going to be taking. Now, I do have some clients that do international trade, and it's a whole set of issues that go along with that. It can, multi-currency can be helpful for them, but QuickBooks hasn't really gotten it perfected yet. I will say that. And then other preferences, and these are just your personal preferences: date format, number format, how you want to label your customers, you know, warn you if a duplicate check number is used. These are just your own personal preferences that you want to set up. You can go right to accounts and settings and set those things up. And the great thing is when you're setting it up, QuickBooks is kind of walking you through it, and they provide all kinds of helpful tools. And you'll also, you know, if you get stuck with anything, you have any issues, you have my contact information. You're always welcome to reach out to me. Our next thing is managing users. So how many people can have access? And you can determine how much or little access your user has to your company data. I don't give anybody total access to my data other than my bookkeeper and my accountant. I don't give the same amount of access to anybody else in my company. And you're going to, of course, use the gear icon because that's the setup icon. And you're going to click Manage Users. And when you click Manage Users, it will it'll let you select an accounting firm tab to add your accountant. And so that user is usually the primary administrator, so they have access to everything. You can always transfer this role to somebody else. You can fire your accountant, you can get rid of them. You can do all kinds of different things in this setting, but you manage the users and you manage how much access they have. You can have a standard user, which, you know, only has access to select areas. So, and you can select what areas they have access to. You can have a company admin who has access to all areas, including billable users. You can have a reports only, which only allows the users to access the reports. And then you can have those that can only enter their time. Remember, I talked about that a little earlier. If you were using payroll, they can only go in and they can enter time. Those do not count towards your user limit. So if your user limit is 5, those people that go in and enter their time are not included. So again, it is very easy. QuickBooks is really drop down, click, point, you know, it's super easy. And a standard user, they have, you can give them full or limited access, but they don't have admin privileges. So these are the ways that you could add and manage a user. And you're using, again, the gear icon. And then this goes through how you would do all of those things. Again, I am not going to go over all of that because our time is getting short, but these are the things that you can give them access to. I always say I'm not going to go over it, but I can't not go over it for whatever reason. But do you want to add or edit or remove users? You know, you could do you want them to have that ability when you add a new user? Okay, we're going to decline that. Oh, that just makes me so mad when that happens. I get a phone call and it just totally throws me off. Okay, we're gonna go to okay. And we're gonna start my broadcast. Why is it not going? There we go. Okay. All right. So these are the things that you can do when you set the administrative rights. Do you want them to be able to edit the company information? No, I don't want anybody to do that but me. Do you want them to be able to manage subscriptions? No, I only want me to do that. So you can give them very, very limited access where they can only do the things that you want them to do. And then you invite the user when you set them up, and then they will be invited to accept the invite, and they'll create their own password, and that they'll be able to get in and get out. So again, this is all done in the gear icon under manage users. Now we're going to talk, you know what, I'm going to skip the list. The list I think will be easy for you to go and look at on your own. I want to go to chart of accounts, because chart of accounts is basically the backbone of your QuickBooks. Your QuickBooks is only as good as your chart of accounts. If you put good chart of accounts in, then you are going to have a better experience with QuickBooks, and you'll get the right information. So what happens is the chart of accounts is what allows you to break down your information into specific accounting periods can be broken down into subcategories. So it lists the categories that are going to make up your balance sheet and profit and loss statements. So your balance sheet is going to be assets. So that's what your company owns. So you're going to have your bank accounts, your petty cash, your fixed assets. You're going to enter your equipment and vehicles, your inventory, any undeposited funds. So that's payments that customers have paid you. So, this doesn't happen as much as it used to because everybody's paying electronically now. But when people were still sending checks, then sometimes we would get the checks in. So we had the money, but we hadn't deposited yet. That's considered an asset that would go on the balance sheet. So these would be types of charts of accounts. Liabilities are what your company owes. So that would be accounts payable. That would be accounts payable. And, excuse me, but my charger was all over the place. Okay, so now I won't cut out on you guys. And then equity is the net worth. So that is anything that you have contributed to the company or you've drawn from the business. So it's an accumulated, and it's also an accumulation of your net profit and losses, which is called the retained earnings. So all of these are charts of accounts. Profit and loss, you're going to have sales of your products. So if you have, if you sell 3 different types of products, you might have 3 different charts of accounts. So you might, for me, I sell subscriptions for my QuickBooks training, and I also do just straight consulting without QuickBooks, and then I have another trade line. So I have 3 different income charts of accounts. So you could do that. You could a chart of account would be labor, interest, rental income. These are the types of things, and QuickBooks kind of gives you a list, but I always recommend that you understand your business, but you go over and talk to somebody in the industry to make sure that you have captured the charts of accounts that you need. And expenses, you're going to have office expenses, wages, professional fees, rent, utilities, whatever types of bills you're going to pay. And for your industry, it might be a little different. So, like me, I have consulting fees. So I include consulting fees as a part of my chart of accounts. And what will happen, so the profit and loss, so when you have the right chart of accounts, it helps you create your balance sheet. So you'll know your assets, you'll know what liabilities you have, you'll know your equity, and you'll be able to make decisions based upon that. And profit and loss, of course, you will know what's bringing you profit and what's bringing you the most profit, and you know what you're spending money on. So it's really, really, really important that your chart of accounts is set up correctly, and it ties to every transaction. So every transaction you touch, your chart of accounts is going to tie to a transaction in your in your what am I trying to say? Where you, when you're looking in your accounting, in your accounting section, and you see all the transactions that are there. So it is going to be tied to a chart of accounts, to one of the accounts in the chart of accounts. And you can manage your accounts. You can manage your chart of accounts. Again, with the gear icon, chart of accounts, you go to the accounting and it will list a lot of chart of accounts, and you can kind of pick. But again, this is something that's so important that I always recommend you let somebody else take a look at your chart of accounts that would understand them, and make sure that you have all of the right chart of accounts that you need in order for you to get the good information, the right information for your business. And you can add accounts, you can delete accounts. And again, you're going to, here, when you add accounts, you, instead of going to the gear, you are going to the new. Remember, the gear is when you're setting up. When you're adding on, you're going to use your new plus, which we talked about, and that was on the navigation. And so that is what you would do to add an account. And the same from the bank accounts. If you want to add a bank account, you go to new and add the account, and it will take care of it. And you can also edit an account from the chart of accounts. And you go to chart of accounts and you say, you know what, I want to edit this. I don't want it to just be called credit card anymore. I want it to be called credit card A. And you can go in and make it credit card A. So you can make any changes, and you can do any editing you need to do. You can make charts, you can make accounts, chart of account list inactive if you don't want them to be active. So you can inactive sales of product income because you no longer sell that product anymore. So you can get rid of that. And then you can merge accounts. So sometimes if you got two accounts that are being used for the same type of transactions and you really want them to be just in one account, you can do that. You can merge those accounts. And they are going to merge bookkeeper and accounting as an example, because the same things are going in those, would go in those two chart of accounts. And then you can cancel chart of accounts. You can edit again from the bookkeeper or the account. You select, and this is really showing you how to merge the two. You're going to do this. I can't go through it and explain it, but you would do this, and it would help you merge the two accounts, and they would become one, as opposed to being two individual accounts. And then you can have sub accounts. So you can have a chart of accounts, and then you can have an account under that account. So, you might have travel, but you want to break down lodging, transportation, and meals. So you want to know, you want to break down, how much did I spend? I know I spent $2,000 on travel, but how much of that was lodging? How much of that was transportation? How much of that did I eat? And then that will help you capture that if you use sub accounts. And then I told you we weren't going to get to beginning balances, but I kept all of the information in there. It shows you how you put your opening balance equity in and things of that nature. But again, I'm not going to go over that today because we don't have the time. And I wanted to leave at least 5 minutes for questions. And I also want to go to the part of the presentation. Oh, shoot. You know what? I'm going to have to fix that. But the end of the presentation had all of the links. I don't know where that went. So I will add those links before I get them sent to you. And I will include all of the links that we went over today with the videos. And then I had some more. I don't know what happened to them, but I will go back and get them, and I will include them in the presentation that I sent to you. So does anybody have any questions before we wrap it up?
Yeah, Jessica has a question in the chat. If I start with basic or essential, is it easy to upgrade later?
Yes, very easy, super easy. You just basically go in and make the change, and then they will bill you for the difference.
I have a question.
Yes.
So you said LLC is when we would go in, if we have an LLC, we would do it as a sole proprietor. But what if you have like a series LLC? How would that work? Like a number of LLCs under an umbrella, like a parent company?
Yeah, then you probably are going to set the LLCs up individually.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And you can do that.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Yeah, Darius has a question. What if his business bank account already does a lot of this? He said he uses Found right now.
The business bank account a lot of business bank accounts do a lot of this, but they don't do the breakdown most oftentimes that QuickBooks will do. And again, we went over this so fast because we had an hour and a half and we really didn't have a chance to, but they will give you aging of accounts receivable. They will give you your profit and loss statement. They will give you your balance sheet. You can reconcile. It's usually much more robust than what the banks offer. And again, I'm not familiar with this particular one, so I can't speak directly to that, but I know the ones that I have seen and I have worked with usually just aren't as robust as QuickBooks. And it often isn't. If you're going to be working with an accountant, you want somebody to come in and like what I do is I have a business that comes in and takes a look at, well, I do the bookkeeping for the business. It depends on the level of subscription. But anyway, but just say it's somebody that I do the bookkeeping for and the taxes for and the strategic planning for. So I can go into, somebody can give me access to the QuickBooks where I don't have to have access to your bank account. I just have access to the information in your QuickBooks and I can go in and I can pull the reports I need. And then we can have those strategic discussions about, growth for your business or what's next or, so it really kind of depends on how robust your banking software is.
Peter has a question. He said he set up his initial consulting business in Quicken Personal. Now that he's expanding, he needs QuickBooks. Can his business data and files and accounts be transferred into QuickBooks from Quicken Personal?
I hate this question because nobody likes the answer, but Quicken does not transfer to QuickBooks. Sorry. And I get that a lot. And that happened to me. I started in Quicken and had to move to QuickBooks and I just absolutely had to pull all my stuff over. The thing is, it can't be done easily, but it can be done. It's not like moving from desktop to online. You can't just upload everything, but you can do some things with your bank accounts and stuff like that to get it done. Any other questions? And I know this was like getting information from a fire hose, guys, and that's what it's designed for. We also offer more in-depth classes, and we'll continue to do that, especially when we get back in person, because it's much easier when you can sit in front of your laptop or in front of a computer and kind of follow along. It makes it much easier for you to understand what we're talking about. But I suggest you can still do that. I just won't be here, but you'll have access and you'll be able to go and play with all of that. Get the free 30 days, pick one, do the free 30 days and just kind of see if QuickBooks is for you. If you guys need any help, figuring out charts of accounts or you have any questions, my phone number is there and I'm going to give you guys my cell phone number. That's my office number. So my cell phone number is 314-662-5885. 0341. So that's 314-662-0341. You can text me questions, and you can call me.
Well, thank you so much for this great introduction to QuickBooks. I threw a link into the chat for our next program with the St. Louis Small Business Development Center, which is in 4 weeks. It's on the value proposition canvas. So take a look at that. And if you're interested, I would look forward to seeing you there.
And I will get all of the, if we have your email, do we have emails?
We sure do. Yep.
Okay, so I will make sure that you get the information, this presentation, and then the links. I will get that to you and you can get that, or Amina, however you guys do it, but I'll get it. I'll make sure you guys get it.
Yep. We will make sure you do. So thank you very much.